Good morning. Welcome to the 2021 Local Advisory Council update for Anderson County. My name is Krissy DeAlejandro. I'm the Executive Director of tnAchieves. Thrilled to be with you this morning. Sad that we're not together in person, but also thankful that you've carved time out of your day today to have what I believe to be a very important conversation around how students are progressing in Anderson County under the Tennessee Promise umbrella. When we launched tnAchieves, now tnAchieves, in 2008, it was incredibly important to us that we remain as local as possible. So these updates are part of our commitment, but please know that this is meant to be a conversation. And so at any point, please feel free to interrupt me, to ask questions, to ask for points of clarification if needed. And I'm always here for feedback. So we love feedback at tnAchieves on how we can best serve students. So in an effort to be mindful of everyone's time this morning, we are going to just jump right in. I do believe it's incredibly important always to remind our stakeholders that while tnAchieves partners with the state to operate the Tennessee Promise program in 90 of Tennessee's 95 counties, we are a 501c3 nonprofit governed by a board of directors and raising dollars privately for operations. As I said, we launched tnAchieves, the precursor to tnAchieves and ultimately Tennessee Promise, in Knox County in 2008 with 493 applications. We now have worked with nearly 450,000 students across the state and have recruited nearly 72,000 volunteer mentors to work with our students. So a couple of key components that I would love to discuss with this Anderson County group this morning. First, as I said, partnering organization to Tennessee Promise, working alongside our K-12 and post-secondary partners to ensure that students are meeting critical deadlines to ultimately maintain their Tennessee Promise eligibility. We also recruit, train, and retain about 9,000, it's usually a little more every year, volunteer mentors to work alongside our students. We believe this is the heart of our program. A team of 31 cannot serve 90,000 students every year without significant help. And so this is a critical piece of the work that we do. We're also very much rooted in the idea of cultivating a culture of giving back among our students. So we do have an 8-hour community service requirement. I love the job shadowing component of this. Students who are hoping to pursue specific fields can actually utilize their 8 hours to decide if in fact this is their major of choice before going down the path that might not be right for them. We also, in 2012, lifted up a pilot program called Summer Bridge to address remediation concerns that we had. At that time, about 80% of our students required remediation. Now that's dropped to the mid-60s, but still a significant barrier for many of our students. Summer Bridge now operates statewide. This past year, we offered the program at 17 campuses across the state. It is a 3-week academic boot camp meant to prepare students both socially and academically for college level work. It has an 88% success rate with students either testing out of remediation or dramatically improving their test scores. We also this year engineered a homegrown online Summer Bridge program for students who were maybe fearful of on-campus learning over the summer. It also saw a significant amount of success. And then finally, we have a Summer Institute program designed now to serve the Memphis urban core. And I'm thrilled to report that this year's participants had a 100% success rate, with not only students testing out of remediation, but also beginning their fall semester with 9 credit hours. Summer Institute is a much more inclusive, holistic approach to reducing summer melt, and we're seeing some amazing success there that we are hoping to spread across the state. We also have what we refer to as Complete. It is a proactive coaching model where Tennessee Achieves staff members work to proactively ensure that our most economically disadvantaged students have an additional layer of support, truly to knock down many of the non-academic barriers that many of our students face. And this program, in partnership with the state, has had an overwhelming amount of success for us thus far. And I would be remiss if I did not talk about the 10 million emails that we send every year. That's right, 10 million emails and about 6 million text messages to ensure that students are being met exactly where they are at scale and moving toward not only landing at a college, but also earning that college credential. As I said, 90 counties, 74 rural, 35 considered at risk or distressed, with 601 high schools under the Tennessee Achieves umbrella. We work with 67 post-secondary institutions, and you can see here 79% of our students are enrolling at a community college, 11% enrolling at a Tennessee College of Applied Technology, with the final 10% enrolling at a four-year institution offering an associate's degree program. 90,000 students coming through our program every year. 60,000 of those are new high school seniors that we take ownership of in early November. You can see here that number represents 89% of the state's high school seniors working with Tennessee Achieves every year, so a significant share of the state's students coming through Tennessee Achieves. We also represent 78% of first-time full-time freshmen at Tennessee's community colleges and 86% of its graduates. 56% of our students are considered economically disadvantaged as measured by Pell eligibility, and 40% identify as the first in their family to attend college. I recently presented to the National Science Board, and the members asked what our students were pursuing in terms of majors. And so we pulled that number, and I'll be honest with you, I was pleasantly surprised to see that 51% were majoring in STEM or health-related fields. 27% of that would fall into that health-related fields category. I know with the nursing shortage that we face, that is an incredibly significant number, and I'm thrilled to see our students headed in majors that matter. 32 million spent annually on the last dollar scholarship component of Tennessee Promise, with Tennessee Achieves raising an additional $2.5 million for operating costs. So let's dig into some Anderson County specific numbers. Thanks to some really amazing school counselors, you have some truly incredible ones. Your FAFSA completion rate, that free application for federal student aid or that federal application for additional dollars, is at 87%, a percentage point higher than the state average. To benchmark, most states would be lucky to hit 50%. So the fact that Anderson County students are really knocking down what could be a significant barrier, I think is a true testament to a lot of folks putting students first. You can also see here our 3.4 million hours given back by our students in community service across the state, with 41,000 of those hours coming specifically from Anderson County. Our board chairman, Randy Boyd, calls Tennessee Achieves the largest community service program in the state. I'm not actually sure if that's true, but we've been running with the accolade because no one has told us otherwise at this point. So some additional Anderson County numbers for us to review. You can see Anderson County always doing really great, like truly great, in terms of ensuring all students have a plan for post-secondary. And for many students, Tennessee Promise represents their plan A. This is their only opportunity to go to college. But for many students, it's their plan B. But I love the fact that our students all across the state have that solid plan B. 841 students applying, 286 enrolling at a Tennessee Promise eligible institution. I should tell you that that 286 number would not represent students who would be off to the University of Tennessee or Tennessee Tech, Maryville College, those institutions that fall outside of Tennessee Promise eligibility. You can also see Anderson County holding strong with its first-year retention rate and three-year graduation rate, both just 1 percentage point behind the state average. I will share with you that when I started this journey 13 years ago with tnAchieves, the three-year graduation rate for the state was 14%. So while no one's just throwing a party for 35%, we have come a very long way, but there is much more work to be done. So again, just zooming out on first year retention, you can see, as I said, Tennessee Achieves students at 67%. Students who are enrolling as first-time, full-time freshmen at community colleges sitting at 53%. So a significant jump from 53% to the 66% we're currently seeing in Anderson County. You can also see here, Tennessee Achieves students have a 51% six-year graduation rate. This would capture students who transfer to a four-year institution and ultimately earn a bachelor's degree. 35% six-year graduation rate for our community colleges in general. And just really quickly to run through some program impacts, I spoke to you about the summer program. So that first year retention for students participating in our summer programs up 34%. For students who are participating in our complete coaching model, first year retention increase of 23%. And then students who are under a relatively new pilot program that we have been operating thanks to the Haslam Family Foundation called Knox Promise, seeing a bump of 42% in first year retention. The magic here is that while only the most economically disadvantaged students currently have a coach through Complete across the state, Knox Promise allows every student to have a dedicated coach. So there are 5 Tennessee Achieves coaches for those students in Knox County alone. We also offer what we refer to as completion grant funding, so emergency aid for those, again, non-academic barriers that often stand in the way of our students seeing success. So this is my sombering slide, or my call to action slide. You can see between 2014 and 2015, a significant jump in our state's college going rate. This was the first year of Tennessee Promise. This is what we were hoping for. You can also see sustainability of that jump over time. And then this year, in light of COVID, a significant decline in college going. We've also broken that specifically down for Anderson County. You can see in 2019, you had a 66% college going rate versus 2020 as a 63%, really 62.6% college going rate. So still well above the state average. But I think it's incredibly important for us to be transparent about the losses that we are experiencing in light of COVID, and thinking about the structures and programs that we are putting in place to ensure that this will only be an effect that we hopefully see last year. It will definitely be something that affects college enrollment this year, but hoping to see a significant shift in college going rate for the 2022 cohort because of a lot of proactive work that we're all doing in this important space. I would be remiss if I did not talk about our volunteer mentoring program. Again, the heart of our work. The class of 2022 mentors, the role will remain the same, that task manager, making sure students are meeting critical deadlines, the resource answering student questions about what's a semester, what's a credit hour, And then finally, to be that encouragement, someone who can normalize college. I always tell mentors, tell them you failed your first math test, right? That is a normal thing. Maybe not every mentor did that, but I certainly did. And so, but the actual function will be different this year. So we did invest a significant amount of time and resource in tnAchieves Connect. It is an online platform that provides mentors an opportunity to see where their students are in terms of those critical milestones from high school to college in near real time. So we're pulling that data from all sorts of different sources and placing this so that the mentors can see exactly where their students are. They can also video chat or just chat with their students in this platform. I am still mentoring students. I have every year, and I love that it's all housed in one place. I also love how far we've come in terms of providing this information to our mentors so they can be successful. So Connect will stay for all mentors. We also will be offering 2 additional opportunities for mentors. We are working with our post-secondary partners to offer open houses for students and mentors to interact at the colleges in March and April. So this will be a shift from going to the high school to going to the college. So we're hoping to see a more impactful experience for mentors and students at the post-secondary institutions. And then finally, we're hoping to promote in a way that we've never done before, one-on-one meetings between students and mentors, or group meetings between students and mentors not facilitated by Tennessee Achieves. This has been happening since we launched the program 13 years ago, but we're hoping to promote this in a new way with the caveat of always in a public place and never putting the student in the car with the mentor. The application is open now and will close on December 3rd. We need 127 mentors in Anderson County to meet the need. So we will begin and have begun a hard push on mentor recruitment. New mentors will complete an application and receive information from us on how to train. Returning mentors will get a 30-minute refresher, most likely in a webinar in their inbox after completing a very small application renewal. So become a mentor. That is one way to have an impact in what I feel like is one of the more critical years that we've ever had in the education space. Share with your friends, share with your colleagues and your family members the opportunity to work alongside students during this unprecedented time in higher education. Connect Tennessee Achieves to your Rotary Club, to your church group, so that we can share our story. I feel like we're where we are as an organization because we always say yes to open doors and are so thankful to those who open them for us. Yes, we want to share our mentoring story, but it's also important, I think, to continue to talk about what is happening with our state students and what's happening specifically with Anderson County students. And then finally, the Tennessee Promise application is live. So if you know a class of 2022 student or parent, guardian, please share. They have until November 1st to complete that application. This is my cell phone number and my email. I am always available if you have questions or concerns or want to provide any feedback that you don't feel super comfortable sharing now, but I will stop sharing my screen and I'm happy to take any questions or think through any feedback. Karen, I think you may be on mute. It looks like you're trying to talk. Sorry. If you hover over, there's a little, there you are.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Will you be sending former mentors a way to reapply for next year? Because I haven't received anything.
That will be coming soon.
Okay. Just comes to our email address.
It does.
All right. Now, as far as the group that we've just mentored, they all started school last week and this week, the ones I had did.
Yes.
Are we going to do anything else with them? Or are we done with them?
No, we'll ask you to check in with them at least one more time in the next 4 weeks to make sure that they're off to a strong start and report that back to us. But yes, so in many ways you're nearly done, but we do want the mentors to check in with the students one more time.
I guess that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Great questions. Anyone else? Questions, feedback?
Krissy, this is Beth Shea. I'm not on camera, but I guess I need some words of encouragement from you, the boss. I felt really discouraged during these 2 COVID years. I feel like I have not been as good a mentor as I should have been. I mean, I've been trying to keep a nonprofit running. I haven't reached out to my kiddos as much as I would have liked. And my colleague at work feels the same way. We both are really kind of down in the dumps. Is there anything you can say that will, I want to keep doing it. I've been wrestling with that, but I know it's important. Is there anything you can say that might help?
Well, sure. I think that knowing that someone is there is a really big piece of this. And so we recruit really busy people intentionally, right? Like we want to bring those professionals into the students' orbit. And I feel very strongly about this, and I've been doing this a really long time. If I think connecting with the students is incredibly important, and I don't want to pour cold water on that important piece of this. But I think if you've connected with your students or you've just let them know that you're there, and so should a problem arise or should a challenge arise, for many of our students, they have someone, a support system to go to. But for that student that doesn't, that knows you're there, I think it's just that alone is a really big deal.
I appreciate that. I do have my 10 students from this cohort that just went into college. There was one young man who would reach out to me every now and then. And so thank you so much. I mean, I am going to keep doing it. I'm going to encourage my colleague to keep doing it because she's awesome. So thank you so much. And thank you for doing this today for Anderson County. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Happy to do it. Thanks, Beth. Well, with no other questions, like I said, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Super thankful, as I said in my comments, and I mean this. I've been here from the very beginning, and I understand the time and commitment and also frustration that many of our mentors face. The students are never as communicative as we want them to be, but I do feel like one human makes all the difference in the world. So if you get 10 students and you are answering a question for one human, maybe that's the question they need to have answered. And so I can't thank you enough for continuing to dig in with us. As I said, I think this year is more critical than any other year we've had. So I'm hoping to work alongside you all again. Thank you so much for your time.
Bye.
Bye.